Hello and welcome, this is Lucas Aid, and today we will be taking you through the Premier Tier at Baku. And this is PRL, the Performance Racing League. So there are 12 minutes left in qualifying, and as you can see, already some strong lap times have been set. We're on board with Hare, or however you want to pronounce it. And we see him now go into the pits. Let's set everything up. Looks good. So the Premier Tier is the top tier at the Performance Racing League. So the very best of the best. The sort of esports prodigies, we could perhaps say. And you're going to see some amazing lap times, I am sure. So Victor currently looking to beat his 140.5. If you look at his battery, he's clearly going into the pits. So this group of players are clearly quite in sync, and you'll probably see them all go in and out around the same times. And this normally helps to reduce traffic and reduce the likelihood of incidents. So it's kind of normally more respectful to try and do it in sequences like this. Now Morris may be setting a lap. Let's have a little look. I've not seen his sector times though. Kisses the wall. You can kind of get away with that, but yeah, looks like he is boxing. Awesome, so that leaves our final runner yet to make or set a time, which is the one and only Steinmeier 200, and he makes his way through what I would call the last corner onto the huge straight. It's really important around Baku to maximize your straight line speed because of the section you're about to see. In a race, if you don't run a high speed setup, you will lose positions every single lap, regardless of how good you are. So have a little look at that miles per hour info. We should probably show kilometers an hour, but you see him topping out at 211 through the first corner. A little bit of traffic, so what we speak about here with the whole sequencing, but sensibly the car uses the escape road and gives plenty of room, which is great to see. So we're making our way now down the first DRS straight, so this is a great overtaking opportunity, and into this really tight left-hander, which is a lot more difficult than it appears. Oh, and Stein just getting a little bit of a wiggle on the back end as he exits the corner. I think he'll still keep going, but that will probably cost him a couple of tenths, just that. Tries to hug the wall. We'll probably think he can hug the wall maybe closer next time, but keeps a lot of speed through there. Then nice and tight on the right, just making sure that he stays within track limits, but gets that rotation. And again, a nice early turn in through the castle section. It's all about early turn-ins, hugging the walls, really pushing yourselves to the limit of those track limits. But yeah, he's not happy with the lap. Perhaps he wasn't happy after that sort of sector 1 little wobble and has backed off. It'll be interesting to see, does he now go for another hot lap, or does he simply box? He's in a good position on the track. Right, so let's now see if we can follow Tambar. So the man to beat, he's just preparing. And again, everyone's a bit, yeah. And Yessi or Jesse also setting up, gearing up. So this is going to be really exciting here. And this is PRL. We are at Baku, and it's the Premier Tier. Right, so we should now see Steinmeier. Okay, so Steinmeier elects to keep going. And again, you can see him topping out there at 211 miles per hour. Let's see if we can follow Ger. Let's follow Ger and then flick between Jesse, Ger and some of the others and see how they fare. And that was not an intentional rhyme. Let's go. So really abusing the curbs there, making sure he gets a nice shallow angle so he can carry more speed. And then just kisses that inside curb, beautiful, runs it right out to the edge, DRS open, and that looked really smooth. Oh, and Tambar has spun, interestingly. So abort mission on that one, but it's fine. It's got plenty of time to get the car back in, get another hot lap in, it's fine. So Cher looking good. Let's see if we can follow him to the sector 1 flag. He's down almost 4 tenths, so he's improved by almost 4 tenths. Very nice. Jesse improves by 2.5 tenths. So really good to see here. I think in a qualifying session it gives you a lot of confidence if your lap times improve with each stint or with each attempt. And yeah, it's a nice controlled way to do it. Of course, making sure not to bin the car in the process, but small little improvements is the way to go. They carry a lot of speed through this section and the car does stick down really well. Now this left-hander with the extra wide cars, I find it's a lot more difficult than it ever used to be. I think you saw Ger there really maximising the track limits as much as he can. I would say it's actually an intentional bump on the wall, because when the cars are that wide, as long as you get the angle spots on, you kind of bounce off, get no damage, and you can carry more speed. It's not wall riding at all, it's just making the most of what the game allows. And let's see, so Jesse, oh, he's improved a lot here. Let's have a look as he runs across the line. And a 141.34 puts him in third. And Ger responds instantly with the 139.739. Puts him in provisional third position. So very good. And now let's see what Tambar does. Is Tambar gearing up for a lap now after the mistake? Or is he just going to run it into the pits? My guess is straight into the pits. And also shout out to Victor with the 139.793, which puts him in fourth, the Ferrari driver. Really good job. So we have Oliver F1, who I believe is a tier 1 driver, and he is now testing himself out in the upper echelons of the Performance Racing League. Looks like he's gearing up for a lap, has some traffic. Now the question is, will he try and use the Williams to gain potentially a little bit of top speed down the straight? I'm not sure how much it really benefits you, because you're already kind of maxing out the engine anyway, almost. But it'd be interesting to see. Oh my word! Was that Philip? Who was that? Oh no! And that's Turtle Hopper, who has made a few mistakes, I believe. Well, or was that? Well, I've just seen Turtle Hopper go into the wall, and I think it was Morris then. So yeah, Morris had the moment, and again had the moment. Is he going to get out of the way? Now this is, if I'm going to be blunt, pretty poor driving, let's be honest. And now let's move on and see if we can track Oliver as they go into the pits. There we go. Well, they've sorted it out either way. I mean, Oliver was on an outlap. I think his outlap was, let's just say impeded. Let's say it was impeded. And move on. Let's follow Ger, as he should now, I believe, go into the pits, having set that great lap. So we have 4 minutes and a half remaining, which is plenty of time for these guys to go in the pits, change onto a third set of softs, and then do a run. I do, however, know that some drivers, they like to only do 2 runs and save the softs. So it'll be interesting to see. And I think that's why drivers such as Steinmeier, who unfortunately retired, had only come out quite late into the session. Let's follow Frosty, another tier 1 driver who's pushing himself, which everyone loves to see. Just moving out of the way. Looks like he's going to let a faster driver through. Well, I say faster driver that he doesn't want to get in the way of. He's now going to start his hot lap. Maybe get a bit of a tow. Oh my word! And the Alpha Tauri of Jesse has gone into the wall. Potentially he was then trying to give room. And unfortunately Frosty just goes a little bit into the wall there. I'm seeing this a lot, actually, which is quite terrifying, because I don't think it's something I've done, but I've only done a few laps, if I'm honest, on this game at this track. So maybe the cars are a lot tighter or stiffer through that section. And yeah, Jesse retires, unfortunately, that's a shame. But a 1:41.6 is a great time, so lots of positivity there for him. Let's just follow Frosty. I'll be a little bit quiet. Let's just admire these cars as they go through the streets of Azerbaijan, of Baku. So notice now a few drivers gearing up for their final outlaps, their final stints. We're going to see some epic lap times, I am sure. So stay tuned for that one. And we have a yellow flag, probably just for someone slowing down. Probably best to discard that. And through onto that last straight, the main straight. And Frosty makes his way down, opens that DRS, look at that battery life, just about kind of getting there in time. At this point, he would start to lose speed, but he's still at 2:11. And a 1:40.738, well done, 10th place. That's a very good lap, it's good to watch. So this is the final shootout. So we have Tambar, we have Morris, Jer, Victor, Dr. Fleek, another good Tier 1 driver, Jesse, all making their way out. Everyone is out. But let's follow Morris. Morris is the first runner, it looks like. Meanwhile, we've got Tambar approaching. Look at that. Puts his foot down so early on the exit of turn 2. Wow, as we've watched Tambar almost, I think, lock up or something. Maybe it was an audio issue. Morris running it absolutely as fast as he can. Runs into the wall. That's the most common thing I do, but I do it much more clumsily than that and lose a lot of time. So he is slower, but only by 1/10. And let's see what Tambar's doing. Tambar is just going through that section. Maybe it's his driving style, but yeah, you can certainly hear a lot of screaming on that back end, I believe. As Jer also makes his way to start his hot lap. So Tambar, let's just say that is not going to be a final lap. And Morris has just exceeded track limits, so that lap is invalidated as we make our way down. So Jer with a 1:39.739 is now starting his hot lap to try and beat that and get that coveted pole position. He is only 1/10 and 200ths off. Victor again, he chooses to take this in third gear, quite late up shifts, and yeah, carrying a lot of speed. Let's see how Jer does in the first sector. Meanwhile, Dr. Fleek as well, just making his way through that first sector. So lots to see here. I can barely keep up. And he's just improved. If he can keep that and maintain that improvement across all 3 sectors, that will add up to enough to claim pole position. So he's in it. And did I just see Victor? Okay, he's almost matching his times. You see, this is partly what makes these players so good. Look how consistent they are. You know, they're really pushing it to the limit, but at the same time, they've got their rhythm. They know how much they can push the car, and they can consistently set excellent lap times. At the end of the day, it's all about race pace here, and if they can set consistently fast times, then race wins are what becomes accessible. Anything less and you will never win a race. It's as simple as that in this tier. But Jer has improved, so he's really smashing it. Must have absolutely aced the last couple of corners, and he now makes his way onto the back straight. A little kiss in the wall, so maybe it's an intentional thing. At this point, I'm going to guess it's some sort of super meta, but I'm not even aware of, and I will not be copying it because I'll probably break my car. And let's see what he sets. A 1:39.376. Well done. That's pole position for now. Can anyone steal it off Jer? Let's have a look. So Victor has improved. I don't think it's going to be enough. And Philip, a respectable 1:40. And no, Victor improves his time, I believe, but does not gain any positions. Let's have a look at Jesse. Jesse, well done, moves up into 6th with a 1:40. Look at that. Super close. 100th of a second up on Philip GT. And Turtle does not improve, makes a mistake. Anger Bank, decides to return to the pits and aborts. What a session here at Baku in the Premier tier. We saw some excellent lap times, and look how close together some of them are as well. But Jer absolutely smashed it. A 1:39.375, and he takes pole position ahead of Tambar 8, who is 2 tenths down on his time in the Aston Martin. If we move along to the second row of the grid, we have Morris, Victor, and then Dr. Fleek and Jesse Force. We then have Philip GT and Turtle Hopper, Ankbank and Odysseus, Frosty and Oliver F1. Well done to those tier 1 drivers. And then we have Adrian, I should say, and Steinmine takes 14th. So great lap times. I think some mistakes and issues there that kind of set back their quali. So it'll be interesting to see them in the race. And then Destroyer and Jesse round off in the last row of the grid. So that was qualifying. We will now take a short, maybe 3 or 2 minute break, at which point we will then return to watch the formation lap and watch this excellent upcoming Premier Tier race here at PRL at Baku. Hello and welcome back. This is the Performance Racing League. We are at Baku and the race will be starting very, very shortly. This is the Performance Racing League. Let's take a look at the current Premier results and standings just while we wait and we watch the formation lap. So right now, Jer is leading by 64 points to Adri in second in the Williams. However, at Spain, I believe, at Monaco, I think Jer did not, well, either my diagrams are out of date. Let me just check this. Yep, my diagrams are out of date because no standing updates have been provided for the Premier Tier for post Monaco. So whoever's responsible, I think we should try and get that done, but no problems. So ignoring Monaco's result, which I don't know. I know that Jer came 6th in Spain, 2nd in the States, but his first 3 races he smashed it with a 1st, 3rd and 2nd, so you can really see that early progress helped him to cement top spot for now. I think some drivers definitely migrated to the game in a much easier fashion. As you can see in the balconies, those passionate fans who have been up since the early hours gearing up for this special event. Look at them. But yes, Adri in 2nd, who it looks like is not on here, so maybe he's changed his name. And then we have Victor 06, so the man in 3rd, who's qualified 4th, which is excellent, so he's keeping himself in contention. And if you look at Tambar, so qualified 2nd, but he's currently in 8th, so this is fantastic news for him. He did DNF in Spain, but otherwise some really good 4th place finishes, and I think he'll be looking to top that here on out in Baku today. But a very, very good championship, lots of good finishes, no one just languishing at the back every race really, which is good to see, and everyone is improving with each race, so awesome. And if we look at the constructors, well, Jer might be winning in the individual drivers championship, but Williams are smashing it in the team constructors, and they are up by 46 points on the Mercedes boys. McLaren are then almost on identical points, just a few behind in 3rd. And honestly, we work our way all the way down through Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Aston. It's super tight. I think about 50 points separates all of those teams, And then there's quite a big drop down, unfortunately, to the Alpine, Red Bull, AlphaTauri and Haas. So I think those 4 teams will be looking to improve. However, we are not even at the halfway point of this very, very long season, which I believe has about 20 or 21 races. So very, very exciting times. And this is, I believe, round number 8. So we're at Azerbaijan, and that gives them plenty of time to catch up. Right, let's take a look on board with our race leader, Jer, as he makes his way to his grid position. Now the drivers, they have to manually position their cars at the start line, and that looked just on the limit, which is perfection at the end of the day. So well done. You can see some drivers, if they show as disqualified, all it means is that they just ran slightly too deep and they then get forced back to a weak position. But here we go. We await the start of the light sequence to begin, which should be almost any second now. Here we go. 5 lights here at PRL, Premier Tier. And away we go. Let's take a look. Cher makes an excellent start. Tambar maybe books down a little bit, and the door's open, and Tambar is holding on, but Dr. Fleet runs around the outside and takes second place. Fantastic job. Now Tambar is under threat from 2 drivers, as we see the Ferrari of Victor diving down in on, I believe, it may be Morris, and takes that coveted position. Now there's been a lot of contact at the back through that corner with, I believe, Adrian and some of the other boys there, and Tambar is in 3rd place. But look at this, so many cars side by side. Does Victor go for the move? No, he backs off, and I hear a bit of sound, a bit of contact behind, so something's happening there. We have Jesse and Victor. Jesse on the outside, cuts in, is forced into the barrier, not great, and now we have to progress up. So we have Frosty there holding on. He's made his way all the way up to 6th. Philip GT in 4th is really hanging it to dry across the inside, and he dominates and takes possession of that corner, and he cements 4th place. Really good to see. And Dr. Fleek up into 2nd. What a start in the Alfa Romeo. But meanwhile, Jer is loving it. He is building up a good gap and has not had any issues so far. Great start from him. And as we look through the castle section, we have Turtle Hopper and Frosty making their way through. So some excellent starts, nothing too crazy. Excellent racing all round. Well done to the Premier Tier drivers. And now we will see sort of the positions kind of start to cement a little bit, at least for a couple of laps, as we kind of await lap 3. Oh, and is that Jesse into Adrian? It may well have been. Was there damage? And he's now going to come under pressure, and he crushes, I think, Jesse into the wall, who will not be happy, and he now pushes Jesse off, I'd say quite aggressively, over the curb. But Jesse is going to be side by side, I believe, and is this going to end well? Let's take a look. He has to back off, and Jesse forces his way through via the barrier. That may go to the stewards, who knows. As Morris and Philip side by side. This track always produces great battles because of how long this back straight is, and he takes that position, takes the corner, keeps the racing line from the inside, and cements 3rd place. Oh, big slip from Morris there on the exit of turn 2, and Philip GT is now all over the back of him. However, it looks like potentially Morris may actually have more straight line speed, because he seemed to recover massively there. Turtle Hopper in the background is loving it and is just closing in on the ensuing battles, but Frosty is keeping it clean as well and is watching on. So lots of things today. Some slight bugs with the game, so apologies to that. These timers are wrong, so please ignore them. You can see it with yourself that Adrian is in contention there and is doing a great job. Right, let's make our way back up the grid. I think this Philip and Morris battle is going to evolve over the course of the race. And we also have, I think, the Frosty Turtle Hopper battle. So lots of interesting things to see here at PRL. And this is Baku for those that still don't know. So Jer now 5 seconds up. 5 seconds up. And it's lap 2. And we are not yet on the main straight. But we are now. And he is 5 seconds up still. And here we go, Morris and Tambar. So Tambar may have made a mistake, and Morris says thank you very much. But now we're going to have 2 cars side by side through this snaking main straight section here. Now, how much room will they leave? Will it be slightly cleaner than the earlier battle? And Morris has to just back out there. Tambar has the inside through the first part and is carrying a lot of speed. As a driver, you know he's therefore maybe going to understeer into you, and the last thing you want to do is DNF on lap 2. There's plenty of time to catch up, and I think, if I'm honest, these drivers really need to start working together now. We need to see a little bit of teamwork from these guys, and we need to rein in Jer. I mean, unless they want the champion, the current champion or penny champion based on points, to actually run away with it here. So it'll be interesting to see what tactics are employed and if anyone gets a bit impatient and dive bombs. As we see Philip GT and Morris again battling with this DRS zone, this is certainly one of the more difficult places to overtake, especially when you're racing against very good drivers that get clean exits there. As you can see, I would say Philip is being held up at this point. I think Tambar is maybe very, very slightly holding them up. And I think once DRS comes into play, that may well push the scales as Tambar locks up a little bit, it seems, and just misses that entry point of the chicane. So Morris again closes in. And now Tambar is 6 seconds down on share, probably because of that little section. Oh, and Morris almost runs into the back of Tambar. Has to get that rotation through the car and only just narrowly misses the wall. Philip GT closes in. You can see that trying to get a little bit of clean air, potentially take a slightly different line, just trying to hound Morris into a mistake and keep as close as possible. Frosty and Turtle Hopper a little bit further back, but keeping in contention, especially as these guys fight. Now the yellow flags come out. Where is that? Is that like down the first section? I'm not sure. Let's just ride on board with these guys. So as we see, as soon as I switch off, Philip GT and Morris, we're seeing a nice little battle there, and Philip GT into third, but this time gets the job done before the main straight. So this is very interesting to see here, and it gives Tambar a little bit of protection, at least for now. But as we say, DRS is now being activated, but after the cars cross the line to start their third lap. And Jer now 6 3/10 up. Doing a great job so far. Right, let's take a little look at some more information. So let's see the tyre situation. So notice Philip GT in third is on the soft tyre, so he will be definitely hoping to gain time. And that makes sense because it did look like he was being held up. So expect him to make some aggressive moves on Tambar. No one has stopped other than, let's just say, a lot of runners that have been in collisions. I'm not really wanting to focus on that. I want to focus on the good racing here. But yeah, certainly a little bit of messy stuff, and some people forced into stops early in the race. There were 4 cars abreast at one point, so the end result is inevitable. Quite a lot of aggression. If we look at the positional diagrams here, Philip GT making up 4 places on the soft, so it's making sense and it's working so far. Morris drops 1, but I think he'll be happy. And Jer and Tambar holding on to their respective pole and second positions. As we see here, Philip on the outside of Tambar. Tambar is going to give space, I believe. Yep, but Philip has to concede, unfortunately, on this time. So he will be now hoping to press to the main section. I think there is an argument as to whether it's worth trying to make overtakes around here. I think he's got the overspeed, he's got the soft tyre, might as well wait until the main straight unless he really thinks his setup is not good enough. And is that a safety car? Is that a safety car? Who has crashed? Someone has crashed. Can I see the crash? So it looks like Adrian. Looks like Adrian has binned it. I think it's in the castle section. It's that. So let's follow Dr. Fleek. It may have been a mistake at the castle. Yes, it is. It is. You see his car to the side. That's a shame. And yeah, a safety car definitely required as Dr. Fleek kisses the castle chicane. And will now most likely slow down a bit more. So we have a safety car. Let's see how the drivers respond to this. Are any drivers going to box? Maybe the soft runners, are they going to box? I mean, this has really, really changed the race. And I think for Jer and Tambar in particular, it's going to be very, very frustrating. They had a perfect start, especially Jer. And yep, sensibly pulling into the pits and putting on hard tyres, I believe. I think that's what I would do in this situation. And looks like most, or if not all, drivers are following that. So yeah, we see Morris now in, Tambar in, Philip in. Everyone is coming in, it seems. Will anyone choose to stay out and take track position? Well, the next driver to make that decision is Dr. Fleek, who made a fantastic start but is now down into 8th after some, let's say, some small issues. And yeah, as he's on the hard tyre, as I expected, he stays out. Now, does he make up any places? Yeah, he does, I think, on Odysseus and Jesse. So makes, I think, 2 positions from electing to stay out. His tyres are only 3 laps old, so that's absolutely fine. And it looks like Jesse is now coming out on medium tyres. So you can see here the dynamic has changed. Now, as I expected, the soft runners did choose to pit, but they've actually gone onto the medium tyre, it seems, and then the medium tyre runners have chosen to go on hards, and most of the hard tyre runners have kind of just accepted the pain, and they have stayed on their hard tyres, which is why I would say from a strategic point of view, often starting on mediums here is the good call, or the best call, because you get these situations and you can capitalise. When you're on a hard, it's a lot more difficult to capitalise because often it will cost you time at the end of the race and is therefore not viable. So let's see how many laps the safety car stays out for. Frosty has caught up with the pack. and he is now in the first place because he has chosen to stay on the hards, as we were just talking about. So working out quite well for him, and I think even come the end of the race, I think four lap difference, it could actually be a big deal here. We have 26 laps at Baku. I can't actually tell you concretely how many laps the hard tyres do. This is honestly not a track I'm that specialised or have much knowledge of. But I think towards the end of the race, that's where the 4 lap deficit may come in on the tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. And it looks like Frosty is trying to get as much heat into his tyres as he can. But I don't think the safety car's coming in this lap because we would have been informed by now. So it looks like they'll do one more lap under the safety car, the Aston Safety Car there. Let's see who's still catching up, because that's normally the trigger point for the safety car. We have Jesse and Steinmeier, who's had an unfortunate race so far, but has been given a lifeline and will now be able to catch up to the pack, it seems. I think he will have to be driving very, very much flat out to catch up, but he's doing a great job and is back in the race. As Jesse makes his way into the pits. So Jesse may have had wing damage on his outlap under safety car. Well, I suppose, on a positive note, is there a better time for this to happen? There really isn't, is there? He will have a chance to catch up. So he may have lost some track positions, but he's now on a hard tyre. And it may actually be, do you know what? I mean, I know that he's changing the wing, but it may be he's decided, going back onto the hard tyres is actually going to be better for my race. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, but certainly, yeah, most drivers electing to try that hard run. That's certainly what I would do, and then I would call the disruptors at this point are Philip, GT, and Turtle and the mediums. So there's some interesting dynamics going on here. This is the Performance Racing League (PRL), and we are witnessing the Premier tier, the highest level tier. Some of the best drivers that you see, certainly ones that want to maybe one day get into sort of an esports scene. So they're working very, very hard. They race a lot and put a lot of hours in to make these sessions very special. And Steinmeier, he is almost caught up. So, as I said earlier, it's given him that lifeline. The question is, though, the programming in the game, as with many things, is not always easy to understand. But normally the way it works is, once the final car closes in, if that happens before, I think, the start of Sector 3, then the safety car in sign will normally appear. If not, they'll often do another lap. So it may well be that this kind of slow catch-up could cause the safety car to do yet another lap. Let's see. Well, nothing's been called. Let's just wait and see. Okay, it is coming in this lap. So yeah, as you can see, the cars have all closed up just in time. And Stein, his battery's low, but he did the right thing, just covering himself in case the safety car did restart without him. And the race is set to get underway. So let's follow. So Frosty here, the tier 1 driver, he is currently leading the race with 5 lap-old hards. He doesn't quite have the pace on Cher and Philip, I would say, but he's racing really well. And we need to now wait and see, how will he elect to restart? Is he going to slow down a little bit more? Is he going to try and then just do a little cheeky jump? What I would say that he's done a great job in is waiting for the safety car to enter the pits. So he hasn't gone too early. Massively there! That was a fantastic restart. Well done. And let's have a little look down. So Tambar under a bit of pressure, but what a restart. Probably the best I've seen in a long time. That was sneaky. And Dr. Fleek and Victor going side by side. So Dr. Fleek on the outside there concedes, and now Victor catches up as Angbank gets past Jesse through turn 1, but Jesse might try and dive down the inside. Will he? No, he concedes. It takes 10th position. So even a few little moves there on the restart, but Frosty, well done. That was fantastic. He completely caught Jer off. I think maybe he was looking in his rearview mirrors for when Jer did a burnout or something, or went to weave for temperature, and just completely bolted with excellent car control. Yeah, that was fantastic to watch. Turtle Hopper now on the medium tyre will hope to sort of slingshot via the DRS route behind Philip, as Philip, the sort of torpedo, in a nice way I mean, is going to try and get himself past Jer and Frosty. But he is 7/10 down at the moment. I don't think DRS will be enabled just yet either, so they have to wait a little bit, which will frustrate them. I think so far this race is playing into the hands of the people that started on the medium and are now on hards. So it's lap 7 out of 26 here, and still plenty of racing to come. Excuse me. Yeah, look how tight this section is. These cars are very wide now, and that left-hander, because it's kind of an off-camber into a downhill section, it slingshots your car towards the wall. And Frosty and Cher, so Cher dives down through that snake section, and it looks like Frosty gives a lot of space, probably knows, do you know what, I'm going to get overtaken. But now he's using the slipstream of Cher to defend himself against Frosty. There's now 3 cars abreast, and oh no, okay, so it looks like Frosty picked up damage. Potentially it was through the section I just spoke about, and Philip GT now gets rammed to the outside and kisses the wall. He will not be happy about that. He will be furious, and Turtle Hopper says thank you very much, I'm going to take the position, and closes that door on the outside. But Philip says nope, I'll switcheroo, I'm going to get a cleaner exit, and it's now going to be a drag race, but with Philip GT taking the inside line into turn 3 as we reach the 100-meter board and the braking zone. And oh my word, I mean, that is not a lot of space that was given. And is that another safety car in the Premier Tier race? The answer is yes. Now, did I see what happened? No. What a sad state of affairs today. This is a shame. Frosty now falling to last because of that wing contact, which I think was just his own fault, unfortunately. But just as happened with Steinmine, he's been given a second chance. So Stein already now 2 positions up. And was it Oliver that binned it? I'm not sure actually what's caused this, if I'm being completely honest. But yeah, it's interesting. And now we are probably going to have 2 more laps under safety car. So I think in the meantime, because we've already spoken quite a lot and we just want to get back to the racing, let's go and look at the race director. Let's see if we can see what actually caused this issue. So lap 8, there was a collision with Morris. A few little things. Stein getting quite aggressive, let's just say, with those white lines. But Morris, yeah, so Morris is in 13th. I don't know, it's interesting. Potentially maybe a car stopped on track for just a brief few seconds from a crash, so then the safety car came out. But yeah, they've cleaned themselves up. And commiserations to Adrian and Oliver, because they had strong pace and they were racing well, but it happens. This is a very, very difficult circuit. Oh, okay, and it looks like maybe it was a virtual safety car then. So the cars are back up and running. So I saw SC signs on the board. It just said SC. I'm sure it didn't say VSC. So I'm not sure if that was a bug. But yeah, VSC, which makes a lot more sense. A lot more sense. So we're back up and racing again. Cher's in 1st, Philip in 2nd, Turtle Hopper 3rd, Tambar 4th, and Victor just hanging on in there in 5th. So we're back up and racing here as we see some yellows, I believe, just for pit end. Let's have a look, actually. Was that Morris? Is that Morris DNFing? Has Morris dropped it? I think he has. Now, for me to see what's going on here is going to be quite difficult because I can only follow cars on the other side. But yeah, it looks like Morris is out. Not sure what happened. Oh my word! Destroyer understeers into the wall, which is very common. I do that every race, and then struggles. Looks like he has not got his tyres in a good operating window there, or his setup is a little bit tetchy. Let's make our way out. So Stein's into 9th place. Fantastic. Oh my word, and that was not good. Oh, that's such a shame. Stein bins it on the exit. Just snap oversteer, and he had great reactions to try and save the car. Overcorrected it and is in the wall. That's such a shame. Now, I expect a safety car for this, if I'm honest with you, because look where the car is. But maybe the game will decide it's not needed, and the virtual invisible tow truck will lift the car away to its fate in some garage somewhere. The paddock, the trucks for the mechanics to pull apart. That is a real shame. So we are under either a VSC or an SC, and I'm not going to call it this time. Let's just kind of wait and see. So I'm seeing SC with yellow borders, but doesn't mean it actually is an SC. Alright, so Frosty now being forced to adhere to the speed time limits. So he can't exceed the delta that's printed on his dashboard, on his wheel. However, at some point, they should, if it's full safety car, elect to pull everyone in. Now, everyone is diving into the pits, which tells me this may well be a full safety car, and yet we see it. I'm right this time. We have the Aston Safety Car. So yet again, yet again has to try and manage a race having pulled out a little gap. The question is it even worth pitting at this point? I think sensibly he's electing to just stay with the strategy. I think you can sometimes get a little bit too, I say you as in I'm talking everyone in general, can get a little bit too trigger happy with the pits when a safety car comes out. You don't always need to go. And I think correctly and sensibly most of these runners are electing to stay out. Now, of course, some of the lower down runners will try alternate strategies. So maybe Tambar is going to go full attack, try and make up a lot of places. I'm not sure he thinks Astoff will reach 16 laps without causing major issues. Maybe he thinks there's going to be another safety car. But yeah, commiserations to Steiner. He done so well, pushing hard, made his way back up to, I want to say, 9th. I think was down in 14th for quite a long time. But unfortunately, yeah, just bins it through this section right here. So you exit the corner, he's trying to get that rotation in the car, just drops the back end, overcorrects, and bang, front left wheel into the wall, and it's game over, race over. It's a very tough track. So let's just stay on board with Cher at the front for a little bit. In fact, let's just follow Turtle Whopper as these drivers make their way around, and we will take a very, very, very short break from my side. So we return, we are at PRL in the Premier Tier race at Baku. We've had a lot of DNFs, this is a very difficult track, and actually I've just been following some of the internal discussions with some of the Premier drivers that have unfortunately retired, and they are definitely correct. It is such a hard game this year. The way that you sort of get traction out of corners and the way you rotate the car, the fact you have to use very high gears, it is quite an interesting game really when it comes to driving. And bear in mind, these drivers have been racing at a high level for quite a long time, or certainly most of them have. They've been racing, you know, F1 19, 20, 1, 2 at least, some more than others. And yeah, certainly there is a lot of community talk about this game being a lot more difficult. It'll be interesting to see if any more major patches will actually come in. Will any major patches come along to maybe remedy some of these issues? But then again, there are always pushbacks on that front because it will cause time trials to be reset quite often, and again, it's just a big painful thing. Obviously, some of it is just inherently caused by the new generation of cars. And the fact, oh my word, as Jesse goes into the back of Jesse, 310, 305. So 2 Jessies, which is quite funny. Looks like someone slowed down at the chicane, but honestly, if you go into the back of someone, that is your fault. It's no difference. Oh my word, what just happened? Tambar looks to have been smacked. Now, I don't know where he's meant to be, but looks like he has been smacked down. Seems quite angry. I think these drivers, oh my word, that is a beautiful moment from Codemasters. I don't know what to say. I'd say I'm a positive person, but I don't know what to say at what I've just witnessed. It was certainly, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of fun to watch. So we've got Tambar racing through, making the most of the ghosting. Probably just connection issues for the record, so none of this is personal. It's probably not even his fault. There's maybe some sort of desync in the game. See what I mean? Like, you know, there's no. Yeah. So the safety car is in this lap, and wow, we've seen some interesting scenes, haven't we? I feel like in many years' time we may talk about this moment. So Ger now is preparing to release the race, get back underway. He is 4/10 up, so kind of standard gap for an SC release. And what sort of strategies will he employ here? How will he get the race restarted? It's quite interesting. As we follow with Philip, So Philip elected not to weave too much, he just wants to get the reaction time nailed, and the safety car is in the pits, so Ger can go whenever he wants, and we'll probably need to start very soon. And look at that throttle control from Philip, he's trying to average, he's modulating, but modulating with very high frequency. However, Tambar takes the lead under the safety car restart, and Ger is in second. Now, Tambar is on a soft, and yes, he has received a drive-through for ignoring yellow flags at the restart. I don't think we should explain the rules too much here, but essentially you have to wait for the lead car to restart the race, and you can't actually overtake, I believe, under safety car until that entry line, that white line, which is there for a reason. So yeah, a drive-through penalty, that is the standard procedure in this case, and I do apologise, actually, I do apologise sincerely for some of those scenes in the restart. But yeah, Ger in second place on the hards, and Philip just half a second behind in third. So we've still got a really good race here, a really interesting race. Now I believe drive-through penalties, they have to be served within 3 laps, including the lap that you receive it on. So yeah, regardless of anything, the grid order will sort itself out naturally. Okay, so it could well be some desync issues. You know, I think we shouldn't think about it too much. There could be many things at play. It could be nothing personal. It could be something along the lines of the game desynced on me, or something happened. Maybe he got nudged. The game decided to make him give up places, and then, you know, in frustration, you want to claim back the position you think you were at. There's so many things that could be at play. There's no point trying to actually guess. We'll wait until afterwards and get all the facts. So Frosty in 8th in the Haas. I think he's doing a phenomenal job, seriously. A really, really, really good job. That restart was impressive. I'm going to remember that for a while. Back on, I think, like lap 6. That was really cool. And he's, yeah, great pace. So well done. Jesse, who's had quite a difficult race, if we're honest, and having to do many, many pit stops. In fact, if we go to the details, let's see about pit stops. If I can actually figure it out. 1 second. Stops. So yeah, makes 4 stops. So as I kind of guessed with my intuition / memory, yeah, he's made a lot of stops, but he's still in the race. He's in 9th position. I think he's had 1 or 2 wing changes. And Victor at the moment with the fastest lap of a 1:43.8. I think there will be some soft runners at the end, so I'm expecting that time to be beaten. Cool. Let's take a little look. So with the penalties, we've got Victor with the 5 second for ignoring yellows, which again, I'm not sure what happened, and then just Tambo with the drive-through. So very clean running, actually. You know, not too many people exceeding track limits. There were a few drivers on their final warning, including I think Stein and maybe Destroyer, who have unfortunately now retired. But these remaining runners are doing a great job here. And this is the Premier tier at PRL, and we are at Baku. So let's go back to the interval view with regards to the time gaps. You can see it's a really tight race here still from the safety car restart, but currently no one's made any moves. We've got Ger in third though, so obviously Ger with the interesting things from the start, and Philip then capitalising and is now in second, and on the medium tyre. So things are going to get really interesting here. Will Philip have to pit again? I think Tambar will have to pit and has the drive-through, and then Ger, in theory, will be able to run this all the way to the end. But how will his pace cope, and will his car be able to cope? Will he spin out with worn hard tyres? You know, this is quite a hard track on tyres, surprisingly. Certainly with the way I drive anyway. But these guys, they do really get rotation through the car, and they do put a lot of heat into the tyres. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. So DRS now enabled, and Victor says, I will take the position, enables that ERS, and gets past Turtle Hopper, and even has time to reclaim the inside. Oh, there's been a collision? Where's the collision? So it's Philip's now in first, and Ger's in second. So, yeah, as we see, yeah. Okay, so Tambar has dived into the pits, and I think he's then retired or something. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but anyway, Philip is now leading the race by almost a second over Ger. Medium versus hard. One hard runner amongst many, many mediums. It is a very fascinating situation here. And don't forget Ger with a very, very confident and resounding pole position. Very hard, fast lap. So he's got pace and clearly has confidence in the hard tyres. So it's very much an interesting situation. As we do see Ordidus, sorry, I should say, going onto the hard tyres there, down in P10 until he gets past, I think exits the pits basically, and gets past Tambar. And yeah, he's just done that. So there we go. And has someone binned it, and is there a safety car? The answer is yes. Okay, answer is yes, so we now have 9 runners remaining. But I think oh okay, maybe it was just a VSC thing then, because I saw it said yellows out in all sectors. But anyway, we're back up and running, so that's good. That's very good news, because I don't think we want any more safety cars, let's be honest. And Dr. Fleek in 6th place, well done, the Tier 1 driver in the Alpha, who had that phenomenal race start that I think should be remembered for a little while. I think getting up into P2, and is now in 6th, on very nice, fresh, medium rubber. Well done. However, Frosty says, I want a piece of this race, and cuts right into the inside, takes the position. Dr. Fleek yields in a very sensible manner, and will now be really trying to ace his traction on exit, so that he can get a move done and reclaim that 6th position that everyone wants. Well, certainly those two want right now. Turtle Hopper in 5th, closing in, I would say, on Victor, but Victor is such a steady driver, very consistent, and he has the time penalty, which of course right now is damaging his race massively because of how bunched up the grid still is. But I think for him it's a case of keep him within 1 second, stay within 1 second of Bank, whatever you do, get that DRS assistance, and just use him and hope to try and pull away from Turtle Hopper. Look how close it is, and you know, these drivers are very good. They know what's at stake. They are very much thinking about the gaps here. The perfect position for Victor here is to be over a second ahead of Turtle, but within a second of Bank. Now, and it's really, really fine margins. It would take someone crazy to try and call what's going to happen here. But let's just follow in between with Victor as we make our way now through the 3rd sector. And through this really, really difficult, seriously difficult left-hander. Victor being a lot more sort of cautious through there than other drivers, but carries good speed. And then turns in nice and early, and nice early in the throttle on the exit. So he is 8 tenths down, 9 tenths down on 3rd position, which means DRS is allowed. But Turtle is 1.4 seconds ahead. So Victor playing a great strategic game, and is hopefully now going to try and use Bank as a train to pull away from Turtle and thus mitigate against the 5-second penalty. And Cher and Philip, so Cher 5 tenths down on Philip, but on the hard tyre, so it's going to be a really painful time for him to overtake. But if he can use the medium runner as, again, like a DRS train, I think things will end very well for him, especially if Philip needs to pit and Cher doesn't. So really interesting scenes, and it's going to be really fascinating to see what happens at the end of this race, especially. And look at that, so Victor again just staying within that 1 second mark. But I think right now there's been so many incidents and safety cars, I think the drivers are trying to be a little bit more cautious potentially, trying to get that rhythm, because it's really hard to get rhythm when things keep interrupting your race. And I think seeing the grid start to settle down a little bit. Also, there are only 9 runners remaining, so less congestion on the circuit. But yeah, for Jesse and Odidus, it's quite an excruciating one right now, because they're far down, having had to pit and so on. Looks like there was maybe some contact between them. I don't know, or maybe just mistakes. They've had to pit again, and yeah, I think at this point the chances of another safety car are very low. So that's a real shame for them. Real shame. Yeah, so Odidus making now 4 stops as well to match Jesse. But if you look at the leaders, it's not a coincidence. The top 2 have only made 1 stop. So amongst all the chaos, amongst all the safety cars, they've stayed true to the course, and they are hopefully going to whip up for us a really exciting end to this race at PRL Premier Tier at Baku. So Jed exactly just staying in within 1 second, and it's trying to be very consistent. But look at Angbank. Angbank is saying, hello guys, let's speed up, come on. You need to start doing something. And this really changes the dynamics, because for Ger, he now has to think, right, I need to look behind me now against someone who I believe is on medium tyres. But at the same time, I don't really necessarily want to try and get the move on Philip, because I want to use his DRS. Certainly be more easy on the tyres. So it's very, very difficult right now. Seriously difficult for all of them. And Victor closes in on Angbank, as we said, so same within 1 second. And now Dr. Fleek actually, sorry, so Dr. Fleek's in 5th, so I may have missed a mistake from Turtle. Turtle in 6th, and Dr. Fleek 6 seconds behind. So a lead pack of the top 4 have really kind of broken themselves away, and it looks like the shootout is going to be between those 4 runners. Let's just listen on board with Turtle in the Alpine as he makes his way through the castle. Let's see what's going to happen here. This is a very fascinating strategic race. We have 4 drivers within 2 seconds of each other. Sorry, within 4 seconds of each other. And let's just see how they take this. How do they approach it? Let's look at the battery life. I won't comment the numbers, but let's just take a look at the battery life. Oh my word, and Jer puts it into the wall. Was it a fight? Was it a fight with Philip? We just missed it. I was not expecting to see anything at this point on the straight. I was just about to switch to them, and that's going to have to be yet another safety car. It's really, really disappointing today at Premier Tier. I'm not sure what has happened there. I mean, was it contact? I don't think that you drop the back end there. I just don't think that happens. I mean, I've never seen anyone drop a back end going through there. Especially in, well, certainly not in dry conditions, I've never seen it. In the rain, yes, sure, especially if you're not on the right tyres. So I would have to say and hazard a guess that there was maybe some contact involving Philip and Jer. Maybe Jer got a good exit and realised, right, I need to carry my speed through because otherwise Ankbank and Victor will swallow me up. So what was a strategic, interesting 4-car battle has now whittled its way down in very much a gauntlet fight to the death style to a 3-way battle at least. However, of course that's completely false, because you look at it now and you see, right, 2nd through 7th are on fresh soft tyres. Sorry, 2nd through 6th are on fresh soft tyres. Now Frosty and Odidus, who were far back, will get to catch up, and most likely will also be joining them on softs. No. So Frosty interestingly is on medium tyres that are 8 laps old. That may be a mistake on his part in terms of maybe not going into the user interface settings and electing to pick the right tyre. So he may be raging actually behind that wheel right now. Let's be honest, that can be race crippling. But if you can pit and get softs on and catch up, it's not the end of the world. Now we have Philip. Did Philip miss out on the pit entry because of what happened? Now that's my strong guess. From here in the comms box is very difficult to tell because I don't get all the amazing TV views that you normally get in real F1. But I believe what's happened is he's had some sort of contact with Jer, and then what's happened is he hasn't gone into the box, and then a safety car's come out and everyone else has dived in. I think that's what's happened, and the question is, how many positions will he lose when he pits? Because I think he is going to lose positions, assuming that these guys have to go. Yeah, so it looks like Ankbank is able to go full speed, and therefore Philip and Ankbank and Victor, they are going to have a massive fight for track position here under the SC, which we have seen, I believe now, 3 times, and then we've seen a few VSCs and a lot of yellows. So Ankbank takes first position, Philip GT comes out just behind, so well done to Ankbank. He now takes the lead. How unexpected. And Victor now just making his way through turn 1, so he will definitely be catching up. The question now is, how many more laps will we have under safety car? And I think the answer is that we will probably conclude lap 19 and then do 1 more lap. So at the end of lap 20 is when I expect the safety car to box. So we've got 1.5 laps-ish still to watch under safety car. Okay. So let's just take a little run through the order as it stands in the Premier Tier race. We have Ankbank in the Alpine in first, Philip in second in the Red Bull, Victor the Ferrari in third, the Alpha of Dr. Fleek in fourth, Turtle Hopper in the other Alpine in fifth, well done, Jesse in the Merc in sixth, Jesse is in the Merc, right? Why is it not flicking? There we go, a glitch in the game. Jesse in the Merc in sixth, and Frosty in seventh in the house, well done to him, just staying true, keeping it clean, staying alive. And now the tier 1 man is in 7th place, and Odidus, who's had a very difficult race, is now in 8th. I'm fascinated to see what these 2 runners do. Are they very worried about catching up? Because if so, that shouldn't be a problem. The question is, will they maybe pit at the end of this lap? Are they trying the strategy of maximising or limiting the amount of laps they run under softs? I mean, at this stage in the race, when you only have a few laps left, the soft tyre behaviour in this game is very peculiar, and you only really get a few laps where you gain time, and afterwards it's just a massive decline, and the possibility of spinning out and making mistakes is genuinely massive, especially on this sort of track, because this track's really technical. Look at the tight twisty corners around sector 1, look at those difficult braking zones, but you have to run very poor downforce for those corners, because you have to be fast on the main straight, otherwise you can't win a race here. And that's honestly why you see so many DNFs around this track. I'm just reading the message, so I'm just trying to understand. Matt, what do you mean, sorry? Can you just put in the chat what you mean? You want a quick resume? Do you want an invite? If you want an invitation to the party, just let me know. Yeah, completely up to you, mate. But the safety car's in this lap, so let's follow the action. I've kind of done a run through on the race. We've had a few safety cars, quite a lot of incidents, but we've had some fast pace. The truth is, though, we've just not had chance to witness any sort of rhythm. We've not really been able to see these guys do what they're capable of and give us that fantastic racing. So lap 1 and 2, let's follow the race start and then we'll give you a nice run through. So Ankbank now leads with what I would say is a pretty comfortable race restart, and Philip, is he under pressure? No, does a great job. We've got then Victor, Doctor and Turtle. Turtle is just on the inside and he's got Jesse now on the outside into turn 2. Keeps the position. Now he's got to be careful against Frosty. Frosty's going to try and get more speed out of the corner, but I don't think it's quite happened for him. And Odidus is rounding us off in 8th, but we have Jesse and Dr. Fleek battling it out. So Jesse in 4th is just thinking about moving across, and Dr. Fleek sensibly maintains position and moves to the outside. We've got Philip GT and Ankbank here. So Philip on 1 lap newer softs is in 2nd place, 3 tenths behind. And we've got it all to see here for this massive 6-lap shootout. As we see yellows come out, has something happened? Has something happened? Adonis spins. That's a shame. That is a real shame on the hard tyres that are 12 laps old. So just completely out of sync in this race. It's very, very unfortunate for him. So Philip's in 2nd place in the Red Bull, just closing in. Now, when we get a second to breathe, potentially. So just to give you a little recap in the race so far, we had 2 phenomenal laps of driving. Seriously, great racing. 4 cars abreast at one point. Amazing, passionate racing. A few little incidents here and there. Certainly what's fascinating to me was that through this section, so into this left-hander, a few little mistakes were being made, and then into the very last main straight, we saw loads and loads of battles in this section. So what you're witnessing here, we were seeing so many cars side by side into this, what I would call little left-hand turn, which is on the straight, and wow, there were a lot of collisions. We had Jer retire in the wall. I think we had a few others having to basically back out against kind of almost like an Ayrton Senna-esque move, or risk ending their fate in the barrier, or their fate being in the barrier, so they had to back off. And it's just been kind of carnage, if we're being honest, but we're now able to witness these guys go absolutely as fast as they can on really good soft tyres, as Jesse's run into the wall. Oh my word. And Turtle's now all over the back of this lot. Very nice entry there. Gets great exit. I don't think DRS is enabled yet, so it sensibly backs off and preserves his ERS for another day. Looks like all of the drivers electing to do that. They maintain position. But look at that, Philip GT really closing up on the back of Ankbank. We also had a fair few retirements due to just little mistakes. Oh, and Turtle makes contact with the back of Dr. Fleek and has been spun around. Frosty says thank you very much, makes his way up into P6, so he's returned back to P6. At one point, under the, I believe, the 1st or 2nd safety car restart, Frosty restarted, and what a restart. So well done yet again for that. Yeah, just so much, it's very hard to keep track. I feel like you could write kind of an essay on this race and all the various things that have happened and whether they were good or bad. We had some interesting moments as well on some of the restarts with, I think, Tambar. I think maybe some desync issues, hopefully nothing personal, anything aggressive, but I just think some sort of connectivity issues that caused him to receive a drive-through penalty for what the game described as sort of ignoring yellows, which it certainly looked to be the case, but again, we don't have the full details. I think there's going to be quite an interesting debrief at the end of this race. Yeah, and I'm just reading the chat in the Premier tier, and it does look like Tambar was complaining about internet issues. And look at that, Ankbank with a 1:42.553, so sets provisionally the fastest lap of the race. Well done to him. And oh my word, Jesse puts it in the wall again, but this time does not show any mercy. No mercy shown. He this time spins the back end around, and it looks like Tambar may have picked up damage. Has he picked up damage? Oh no, he has. Dr. Fleek. I don't know why I said Tambar. Dr. Fleek has picked up damage from Jesse's spin out of turn 1. That is probably race over for those two. What a shame. Now Frosty, of course, will be absolutely loving this. He's got a nice clean car, nice clean fresh Haas. We're watching a Jesse and a Doctor go round wingless, front wingless, and Frosty will inevitably now snap up 5th, despite being on 12 lap old mediums. So well done, seriously, what a great drive from him. Right, let's make our way back up to the top. So we still have Bank leading. He's doing a really good job here of holding firm at the front. He's under a lot of pressure, but so far we've not seen any mistakes from him. So well done indeed. And if we just look at the standings with Bank, so he's currently in 7th. He actually won at Spain, so has great pace. Had to miss a couple of races though, so I think he's really looking to cement himself back into the running for the championship. And well done. So we have 4 laps remaining here at Baku, so lap 22 out of 26. And we are witnessing quite interesting battles as the grid is super closed up. And is that Jesse that's retired? Did he go into the pit or has he binned it? I think he may have binned it just at the top of the hill, and I can't quite see it, so apologies, we're going to miss that one. He may have just ran wide, and as I was saying at the start of this race, that corner is in particular very difficult. You've got trajectory changes, it's off camber, it then goes downhill, and the car is so easy to kind of just get let loose and run into the barrier, and if you do not perfect the angle, which for the record will actually gain you lap time, then you are forced to basically DNF or lose a front wing or something horrific. Very difficult race here. Definitely one of the hardest on the calendar, as I've said, but I'll say it once more. You're running very fast setups, so not much downforce, but then look at some of these corners, and there's no runoff sections. You've got walls on either side of you. It's so difficult. So, you know, we have to still sort of tip our hats at these guys. They've got great pace, and the qualifying session was phenomenal. Seriously great times, and lots of respect between all of the runners. Now, I would hazard a guess that the safety car will be boxing this lap, and we will restart, despite the fact there are gaps, because seriously, these cars will catch up probably before the start of Sector 3. You can see they're only now 1 or 2 turns behind, so I think it will come in on this lap. I really hope so. And look at that. It's just great to see. So Frosty was so sensible, so clever there. He notices that, okay, there's been some contact here, and it's forced Dr. Fleet to have issues. I think Turtle and Auditus were already far behind from making mistakes on the restart. And Frosty said, you know what, this means I can pit onto softs when there are only 3 laps of racing and left, or 4 laps of racing left. And I now have the freshest rubber. And seriously, on soft tyres, the difference is huge between 6 lap old softs and 1 lap old softs. This could be a major play from Frosty, so well done. Let's see if the safety car chooses to come in at this lap. I don't think it is. Oh, either that or I missed what it was saying. The fact that the cars are driving so close to the safety car tells me that, yeah, there's still another lap. I think at this point, we've said really all we can say about this race. We've had so many restarts, so much downtime. So I'm actually going to take a really brief little break and get some water. And then I'll make sure that we return in time for the safety car restart, where we can see that battle that everyone should be really excited for between pretty much every driver on this grid for the race win. So we return. Oh my word! And as I return, is that Philip who's just... Oh my word, he's lost his front wing. What happened? Did he just put too much power down trying to do a burnout or something? That's so unfortunate. It's race over for him. And I'm not sure how he's going to take this. Is he going to slow down? Is he basically just going to move over, let everyone through? I mean, what a tragic end to a race. I just don't see any way back. I think it's 7th position for Philip now. I just saw it out the back of my screen as soon as we returned. Yeah, really hard to comment on. What a shame. Oh my goodness me! And there's been a spin involving a few cars. So we now have Frosty in third. Well done. I really want to see how... Okay, I want to try and get the view on the car so I can see how the front wings are. So we are, of course, awaiting the restart, but what's interesting is how many cars need to box. So Ankbank goes... Philip goes with no front wing. I'm a little bit scared about this. Frosty in third is obviously going to be looking to make the positions up. I'm trying to tone the energy down a little bit here, just whilst I kind of evaluate what's actually going on. But yeah, obviously we've got all these runners really close by. We're on a safety car restart. You know, this is a shootout for the win. And hats off to Ankbank. He's aced it. Absolutely aced the restart. 6 attempts up. And we've got Philip, who, yeah. Okay, so then Frosty in second. Let's just move on. I'm not going to waste my breath. And we've got Turtle in third. Doctor in fourth. Audidus, well done, mate. Well done for staying in there. You're now in fifth. What a great drive, seriously. You know, who would ever have called that? I mean, if I was him, I would not have ever expected fifth. Not in a nasty way, just it's motor racing. Every sort of weird, strange thing's going to happen here. And yeah, you're just seeing that. And every season you get the odd race like this. And Audidus, is that a move on Dr. Fleek? And it is, up into fourth. May have cut the corner, but if he did, he'd now have to relinquish the place. So unless I see anything happening, then great move. Well done, into fourth. It doesn't matter how well you're doing on lap 1. It doesn't matter how well you're doing on lap 25th or 25. It's all about who crosses the line first. It's all about when you cross the line. It's a race. And we are racing here today. And Frosty's in second place. He's less than a second down. DRS will be enabled, I think, for 1 lap at the end. We have a yellow. Is that Philip? Yeah, so Philip was having to struggle to get his way back around. He just wants to finish the race to get points, so completely sensible. But Frosty, 7 attempts down, doing a great job. Now, Turtle is closing in, and we've seen a lot of controversial contact through that sort of snaking section that leads onto the main straight. I've been in battles there, and I'll be honest, every time I see that, I back out, because it's just a death wish. But yeah, there's been a lot of interesting things going on, and Audidus has found some good pace late on in this race. He's really closing up to the pack, so maybe he has a very slightly faster setup and is able to now drive hard with low fuel and softs. Oh, he did locks up a little bit though, and we've got... Oh, that's a shame to Philip speeding in the pits. We're obviously dashing in, maybe to retire, I'm not sure. Maybe because of the lock-up, because of the front wing. And we've got Turtle in third place, just closing in. Oh no, Frosty! Frosty goes too deep on turn 3. That's the most common mistake I make, and it is so depressing when that happens, because you do the sensible thing, you back out, you have to, but it's just race over. It's, well, not over, but race ruined. It's so sad. That happened to me, I think, lap 12 last time I raced here, and yeah, then you have to wait ages to let cars out. I suppose the question is, Frosty is at least ahead of Philip, so it's not the end of the world. You know, 5th's a great result. It's just such a depressing way to end a race. Like, you know, you could be winning the race, and you could win a championship, and it would probably still feel a bit frustrating if that happens to you. Audidus is in third, really closing in, so great pace shown. Like, who would have expected this? We don't have any betting in PRL, but if so, there would have been a lot of money to be made. And Audidus goes right into the back of Turtle, goes way too deep, and we have yet another collision here in PRL at Baku. I think if we're being honest, again, I'm trying to sort of turn down the energy a little bit, but I think if we're being honest, there's going to be so much steward involvement after this race. I'm not a steward, for the record, but yeah, I mean, I think they deserve a bit of overtime pay after this race. Just a lot of things. Oh my goodness me! Frosty goes into the wall on the main straight, and yeah, this has been quite a challenging race to commentate, I'll be honest. You know, there's been so much excitement, but obviously, yeah, we're just trying to stay a little bit professional here. And yeah, Frosty, third place after the contact. So, Ankbank takes the win. Well done, son. Great drive. Dr. Fleek, second place. Wow. Frosty in third in the Haas. It's just... I mean, what was going on at this race? I don't know what to say. I'm kind of speechless. But takes home 3rd place. Well done. Great drive from Frosty. Great drive. You know, and he made that mistake. And I was saying race over. But he gets 3rd. He gets 3rd. Well done. So much great racing. An Ang Bang driver of the day. I would agree with that. He held firm. He stayed clear of the mess. Stayed clear of the scraps. And I think he deservedly won that race. But yeah, I think only a few drivers actually finished. We'll do a full run through the grid afterwards. But yeah, hope that you've enjoyed the race. This is PRL, the Performance Racing League. We've been at the Premier Tier race, so this is the highest, most elite tier that we have to show. And this has been Baku. And your commentator today, Lucas Aid. But as we see, we have that podium run through, which I'll show. We're not going to skip. And well done to the Alpine driver. Great drive. What an interesting race. Yeah, I mean, I did watch it from start to finish. I tried to follow all the action, and it was intense. Really intense. So Ang Bang, not only does he win the race, he started 14th. And he sets the fastest lap of a 1:42.553. So well done. What a drive. Really positive result. Dr. Fleek, the Tier 1 driver, takes home P2 from 5th place. Really well done. You know, there were points in that race off the race start. Well, I was super impressed with him. Had some little issues here and there, but recovered well. And Frosty, what a drive. So much action. You could have followed Frosty, just Frosty on the dash all the way through from start to finish. Really interesting race. Takes home 3rd. And rounds off those podium places. Turtle Hopper takes 4th. Odidus, fantastic pace at the end of the race until that little bit of contact. Maybe a little bit excited, but takes home 5th. Maybe in a bit of trouble though. Philip goes 6th. Some interesting events there with the Red Bull drivers. I think Red Bull across PRL, always quite interesting. Victor and the Ferrari takes home 7th place. You know, a few laps behind, but at the end of the day, it's 7th. Jesse 8th, Cher 9th, Tambar 10th, Jesse 11th, and I don't have time to round off the grid because someone has readied. So we've got Destroyer, Stein, I think Morris, and I apologise for the last 2 runners there. I think it was Adrian and Oliver who DNF'd at the start, so they round off the grid. But yeah, this has been PRL. Lucas has been your commentator, and I hope you've really enjoyed this race. Now, if you can just hang on for about 4 more minutes, then we will move over, and I'll hand over to, I believe, Taggart, and we will discuss the Tier 1 race. But yeah, I'll now be dropping off. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.